Hi, today I'm going to talk about comprehension with regards to language learning. There are two types of comprehension: auditory comprehension and visual comprehension. First, we'll talk about visual comprehension. To truly comprehend and understand something, there are two steps that have to happen. The first step is recognition. So with regards to visual input, by the way, is anything you see or read. So the first step that needs to happen to understand what you read is visual recognition. So if you look at number one here, you're not going to be able to recognize what's written there because you don't understand the letters. You don't understand the characters, the shapes that you see here, unless you've studied grammar, which I doubt. But if you're a native English speaker who only knows English or that alphabet, English alphabet, you're not going to be able to understand or recognize these shapes. Therefore, you can't complete step one. However, if you look at number two, you'll be able to recognize the shapes and the letters that are used in this word. You may even be able to pronounce it like televinger, something like that. So you'll be able to complete step one, which is visual recognition. But you won't be able to complete step two, which is understanding the meaning, because this word has no meaning. It's a nonsense word that I just came up with to use as an example here. So with number two, you can complete step one, but not step two. So what's something that that you'd be able to understand completely and therefore complete both steps? I don't know, some simple word like cat, right? If you saw cat, you can recognize, you can complete step one, and you can also understand the meaning. Now let's talk about auditory input. Auditory input is anything that you hear or listen to. So the first step is auditory recognition. Auditory recognition is a bit more difficult to test. Actually, it's not that difficult to test, but it's not as obvious as testing for visual recognition. How do you test if you've recognized what you've heard? Well, I think the best way is to see if you can write or transcribe what you've written. Therefore, if you're able to write what you've heard, it means you can understand the phonemes, the sounds of what you've heard. So, for example, if I say to you, bottle, right? You can understand the sounds, bottle, and you understand that it has an English meaning, and you can spell it, B-O-T-T-L-E, or yes, or you can even use a phonetic spelling to spell it, bottle. So maybe you'd say like B-A-H here. Maybe you'd phonetically spell it like ba-tol, something like that. So that shows that you're able to recognize the sounds that you hear. However, if I said to you, Здравствуйте, you probably wouldn't be able to recognize the sounds that I said because it's a Russian word, and the sounds, the Russian sounds, Russian phonemes are not the same as English phonemes. So you wouldn't be able to, or you probably wouldn't be able to come up with some sort of phonetic spelling for Здравствуйте. So therefore you wouldn't be able to complete step one, which is auditory recognition. However, if you look at number four, if I said to you televinger or televinger, right, you'd be able to recognize the sounds of what you just heard. You'd be able to recognize the phonemes, and you'd probably be able to spell televinger or televinger something like this, thereby completing step one. However, you wouldn't be able to complete step two because you don't understand the meaning of what you've heard. So in order to truly comprehend something, these two steps both have to happen, and there are exercises, there are techniques that you can use to improve your ability in carrying out these steps. For example, for understanding meanings, how would you be able to improve that? Well, that's just simply learning the meanings of more words, improving your vocabulary. But with these two steps, visual recognition, if you're having trouble with that, well, the only way to fix that is to learn the alphabet. Say I'm learning Russian and I'm not able to recognize this word. Well, how do you fix that? Learn the alphabet. But here, auditory recognition. What happens if you're not able to say, well, what happens if you're not able to make out what someone says? Well, that's ear training. So there are specific exercises that you can do to improve your ear, your listening comprehension ability. So that's all I have to say about understanding input. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for listening.